first one was we wanted the platform out early towards the target. So somebody, Logan, you raise your hand. Target's there. So no matter where she's facing, the platform is out towards the target early. That's the first of the three. The principle being that if you start facing the target, and then when we get to the end we finish, she can't ever pass it anywhere else. We found that almost every single time when kids are flashing their platform out early, flashing it straight out. And so then what they had to do is they had to make some sort of turn adjustment. And even worse than a platform adjustment, they would make a body adjustment to try to get it over there. And that's when everything got out of control. Platform's out early towards the target. That's the first key. The second key is that she was going to go through the ball. The idea of this is that as opposed to deflecting the ball, most of the balls, especially in club that kids play, they control, so they should drive through them. I really believe that in club, I believe it's like 15% maybe of balls that are deflection balls. 85% of the balls that they play, they drive somewhere, they can control, they put it somewhere. Okay? So they really had to go through the ball. So we would take it and make them push all the way through so they directed where they wanted this ball to go. And the third was that they were going to finish holding at the target. So if they start at target, they finish at the target, and they hold, they're going to be very consistent. The hold not only gave them direction, but it prevented a big swing. Right? So you tell a kid not to swing, they can't do that because they've been swinging forever. They hold, that takes the swing out of it, it controls where their platform is. So those were the three keys that we were working on. Okay? Pretty all right. Okay. The second thing that was really important was shoulder position. And this was the weirdest thing that people had a hard time with. Katie would say about there. Basic demo that we would do. Katie, I want you to catch this, or I'm going to sell your puppy. I know this is what we would tell kids, right? You catch it. Now, no matter where I go, I want you to catch this. I'm going to sell your puppy. Never see your puppy ever again. Okay? Here we go. You got a puppy? Good. Now, what she does naturally, and every kid who's 10 years old is always going to face me. And the reason for that is because it's easier to receive a ball facing. Face that way. Maybe your puppy, here we go. Okay, now, right? Puppy's gone. Okay, so we were teaching kids that naturally they had to face their shoulders towards where the ball was coming from because that allowed them to receive it. So even if their platform was right, if they were facing away from where the ball was coming from, they were not going to make successful contact. That was the biggest thing that was so hard for people to change because everybody taught facing towards the target. So, a very early mantra was always square to where the ball was coming from. And we would do it a million different ways. We would have a group of 50 kids out here just walk around with the ball and just make them shift constantly, staying low in a good defensive position. Okay? Any questions on those two really important pieces? So, shoulders were where the ball was coming from. Platform was through the target. Early, through, hold. Very simple, right? So even somebody as dumb as me can say that and teach that. Everybody all right? Last piece. So there's some early discussions. John Dunning, Stanford, he and I used to coach 14 years ago, way back in the old days. We used to have these theoretical discussions just to keep ourselves sane after coaching 14-year-olds. And John, way back in the early days, had discovered from shooting video at Pacific, we used to teach stop when the ball is being attacked. He did a video of his kids at University of Pacific, and he found that at point of contact, every single kid was up in the air. Okay? So they were in the process of what they thought was stopping. And then when you watch the video, you roll it a little bit more forward, you find that once the ball is now traveling towards them, they are in the process of landing, regathering, then moving. And that's why they couldn't be successful. So a lot of us talk about, well, then we need to stop saying, be stopped when the ball's contact, and we need to know that they're going to be moving no matter what. So if we then think that she wants to be good, and she wants to do what we say, and we know that saying be stopped is impossible, then what we said is we wanted her to move towards the ball. If her shoulders are towards the ball, and the ball is coming towards her, and we know she cannot be stopped, we want her moving towards the ball. So terms like attack the attacker, pressing your shoulders forward, all of that was to generate movement towards where the ball is coming from. Okay? Pretty simple. So if she's catching this ball, right, simple press catching, step towards me and catch. Step towards me, come towards me, catch. Good. That's it. Back up. Move to your right, catch. Move to your right, go. Okay? Again, move backwards, catch. Okay? She got a handle out, but she's got a problem now pushing the ball back to me. Does that make sense? So very basic stuff that we show the kids to try to prove the principle. Those were very, very basic things that we were trying to show them. So in all movement and in body position, we were trying to make them movement neutral, which means that they were moving towards where the ball is coming from. Kids would say, I'm stopped, nobody has ever stopped. All of you right now are in some sort of motion. You are leaning one foot to the other, you're leaning back, you're leaning forward. If some kid moves to their left and they stop, they're pressing right. That make sense? So if you shuffle nicely to your right, stop. Okay. In order to stop, she's got to push her weight coming back this way. Nobody has ever stopped. They're always moving. We kind of buy that principle. Okay? So at every point, serve, receive, receiving a down ball, free ball, or an attack ball, we want them moving towards where the ball is coming from. Basic fundamentals. So this was really it. Thanks, Katie. This was really it in terms of the basic fundamentals, which was we wanted them to be in a body position that was neutral. The term that I think we still use is a quiet body. We don't want them moving up and down. We don't want them flying all over the place. We want them moving towards, because that was the most neutral body position. And we used to show it by sitting them in a chair and having them pass. Go ahead. Andy, you want to toss? What do you want to target? Target's up. Good. Muffins out. That's a great toss. It's good work, Emma. Good. Now we would do two things. Now what we do, very simple, okay? Just to make sure that the kid gets this. Andy moves to the right. Good. Logan, you can stay if you want. Okay, now, good. No, hold on a second. Once I saw that, she understood it. Okay, now obviously she's done this before, so this is cheating. But if she doesn't, I'm going to stop the whole thing, because they're going to say, look, your shoulders have to be that way. We're going to do 1,000,001 ways to reinforce the shoulder position. And you want to make sure that he's giving a good target, because her platform should flash out. Okay, go ahead. Good. It's an extreme angle, and in a chair. But I want all of you to understand as coaches, what we tried to do was eliminate so many errors. She was going to receive the ball well, and if her platform went all the way through, there just were not many errors. She's not spraying this ball. She simply cannot. Turn towards target. Good. Ball coming in. Go ahead. Yeah. Right? I mean, so not only, she's doing a great job with this ball because it's a free ball, it's essentially coming down, but everyone's spinning sideways because it's coming off one of her arms. She's coming off her right arm. She's spinning it in there, right? Everybody understands. But this is how it was taught for a long time. So it was really important that we simplify this, and that's why we went off of the knee. That's why we went off of the chair, shoulders, and platform. And then once we introduced movement, all movement was to keep them neutral. Okay, so Andy, go ahead and start up the net, but it's hand kick.
Jason,
all right, so.
As somebody who played middle school, high school, and college in North Carolina, 38 years old, I can tell you that that is how I learned how to.
Yeah.
I can tell you, like for the state of North Carolina, when you arrived on the scene, that's how we were all available.
Yeah. Now, are there questions about that or concerns? Because I believe, back in the old days, when Toshi started, I don't even know when this was. I've forgotten everything since before breakfast today. But we started teaching, passing from the center. We taught, we were turning, and they had us teaching 15-year-olds what international athletes were struggling with, right? So we were experimenting with a lot of things. This is not to say that kind of passing can't be successful. But I believe this. I believe that not only is this more successful, but I believe that if a kid understands this, they can pass a bunch of different ways, right? Sometimes students will develop a different kind of passing, and they'll say, oh, Coach Curtis, that was not the way you taught me. I said, that's okay, because you understand body positioning and you understand platform awareness. So then you can pass from the time. You can do all sorts of things because the principle is the same, even though it's accomplished differently. So I believe that not only did this help them be more successful, but it taught them what they were supposed to be positioned with. Here's another reason why I think the shoulders is important, although I think you can't argue with its effectiveness in terms of passing, but it also locks you into where the ball is coming from. So no matter where Andy is, Andy's over there, go. If she's constantly facing her and she puts her hands up like this, she's set up. We now have a prepared defensive player. Does that kind of make sense? And a lot of times if you really watch kids on video, they're not really watching who's playing the ball. They're also not really watching the attack or launch or anything else. I'm not really sure what they're watching. I think they're watching everything and nothing all at the same time. So by making sure that they were square where the ball was coming from, it also gave them a level of attention to what was happening next. So what that means then is that when we teach positioning, you have to anticipate when the ball is coming in, and you have to shift quickly. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? So this also allowed them to be a little bit more organized and to anticipate where the ball was coming from. Questions about those basic fundamentals? I think that that's kind of still a real foundation of what we're doing here. And so if you have a question or it doesn't make sense or disagree, now would be a good time to raise your hand and ask.